Do you remember those endless summers as a child, days that felt like they stretched forever? And now it seems like the years are flying by faster than ever. Blink, and summer's gone. Close your eyes and suddenly it's another birthday or holiday season. But why does this happen? Why does time seem to rush past us as we age, making us ask, where did the year go? Well, sit back, because we're about to unravel the mystery of our speeding clocks, and by the end of this journey, you'll never look at time the same way again. First, let's set the foundation. The sensation of time speeding up is something called time perception. It's the subjective experience of how we feel about the passage of time. Interestingly, your brain has no built-in clock to tell you exactly how long a minute or an hour is. Instead, your sense of time heavily depends on how you experience and process events. As bizarre as it may sound, time isn't a fixed constant in our minds. It's malleable. Now let's dive into the first key reason for this phenomenon: proportional duration theory. Imagine you're 10 years old and someone gives you a year to play, learn, and explore. That year represents 10% of your entire life. Now fast forward to when you're 50 years old. One full year is only 2% of your life. Because each additional year becomes a smaller fraction of your total experiences, our brains often treat them as shorter or less significant intervals. So by this calculation, time seems to fly faster as we age. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's talk about memory encoding. Here's a fun fact. Your perception of time directly correlates with how much new information and stimulation your brain receives. Remember the first time you walked into a new school? Everything from the smell of fresh chalkboards to the faces of new schoolmates was fresh and exciting. Moments like this get processed in rich detail, and because they leave a deep imprint on our memory, they feel longer in hindsight. Now contrast that with the routine of adult life. Wake up, commute, work, eat dinner, and sleep. Days can go by in this seamless monotony, and when there's nothing new to encode, your memory stores much less information about that time. This lack of vivid memories makes days, months, or even years blur together, giving you the illusion of time speeding up. Okay, so memory and perception play a role, but what about stress and multitasking? In today's fast-paced world, many of us juggle endless deadlines, appointments, and commitments. Oddly enough, even though we seem to have less time because we're always busy, our hyperfixation on tasks can make entire days vanish without a trace. Psychologists suggest that living in this perpetual motion leads us to feel as though time is running away from us in large chunks. It's ironic, isn't it? The more you try to pack into a day, the shorter the day feels. Another fascinating perspective comes from neuroscience and the role of dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter associated with reward and novelty. When you're young and discovering new things every day, your brain is buzzing with dopamine, which keeps time distinct and rich. But as we grow older and our day-to-day experiences become more familiar, dopamine production decreases. Less dopamine equals fewer markers in the passage of time. And did you know, the way we experience speed itself, how quickly or slowly things move, can warp our perception of time? For instance, if you're driving through a countryside with scenic roads, time might stretch out because your brain is savoring every moment. On the other hand, sitting in traffic on a familiar route can feel like a black hole for minutes or hours, which ironically makes the entire day seem shorter. Let's not forget technology and the digital world we live in today. Constant screen time and digital distractions have a direct impact on how we perceive time. Quick dopamine hits from likes, retweets, or binge-watching shows might fill your time in the moment. But when you look back on the day, these activities rarely leave vivid memories. Doom scrolling through your phone? It's likely one of the biggest consequences, shrinking our days into indistinguishable blurs. But time perception is not all bad news. There's silver lining in how we can train ourselves to experience time differently. One of the most popular techniques is mindfulness. By teaching your brain to focus on and savor the present moment, you're adding more vivid memories to your mental timeline. Ever tried meditating on a busy day and noticed how everything immediately slows down? That's mindfulness at work, and science backs it up. Practicing mindfulness rewires your brain to focus on the here and now. As a result, days feel longer, richer, and, ironically, more fulfilling. Another tip is to seek novelty. Remember, we talked earlier about how new experiences lengthen your perception of time. Start small. Maybe try taking a different route to work, joining a new hobby class, or even vacationing in a country you've never been to before. The more you push your boundaries, the more sticky those memories become in your mental clockwork. And the last key tip: live in alignment with your values. Have you ever noticed how time almost freezes when you're doing something you truly love? Whether it's painting, playing music, tinkering in your workshop, or hiking in the wild, activities that deeply resonate with you can make time richer and more memorable. As they say, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time at all. But wait, what about science fiction level solutions? Researchers have explored using biofeedback, virtual reality, or even neural stimulation to alter time perception. While some of these are still in the experimental phases, they offer fascinating glimpses of how the future might redefine our relationship with time. Imagine wearing a VR headset that slows your perception of minutes or hours. The possibilities, though a bit mind-bending, are endless. We often say, time waits for no one. But clearly, the way we experience time is much more flexible than we think. By gaining insight into how memory, emotions, technology, and even attention shape our personal timelines, we can learn to hack our perception and truly make the most of our precious moments. So next time you feel like a year has flown by faster than ever, take a moment to reflect. Are you bogged down by routines? Could you be more present? Perhaps try seeking out fresh, meaningful experiences to stretch out those golden hours. As we wrap up, here's a parting thought. Time is ultimately about perspective. By consciously reframing how you engage with it, you can not only slow the ticking hands of your internal clock, but also enrich your life in ways that would make each day feel timeless. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning the why behind your world. Who knows? Maybe just asking why is the secret to making time slow down.